friends, my name is Shayla and today I'm here to talk about 5 shonen series that I love and adore. So I don't read a ton of shonen, as most of you know. I primarily read shoujo and josei. So I am really excited to be giving you guys some of my favorite shonens, and some of them might surprise you. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I am leaving my favorite shonen to the very end. So know that my favorite will be the last one I talk about, but the rest of them are all interchangeable in order. So first up here, we have Beastars, which is a school, it's like Zootopia in high school, I think is the easiest way to kind of describe it to people without giving too much away. So this is a series where we primarily follow Legoshi, who is this wolf who is a carnivore, and then he's interacting with herbivores at school, and the school politics and dynamics do play into this, so it ends up being a really interesting and thorough look at what a high school dynamic would be like from this animal perspective. And I really appreciate it for what it is. I find it very interesting, and I think it's great. I did definitely check to make on Baka updates to make sure all of these were shonen before I dove in, so there's that. Next we have To Your Eternity, which is one of my favorite series currently. A lot of people think this one's a seinen, but it's actually a shonen, so I was surprised when I figured that out. But when it comes to Your Eternity, this is from the same creator as A Silent Voice, and so all of the art has that same level of A Silent Voice beauty, and we primarily follow this being who starts out as kind of this orb and ends up kind of learning about the human condition throughout the period of the series through interacting with the human world. And it's really interesting. I don't want to tell you more than that because I think if you go in a little more blind, it has a little more impact. But know that I love it. It's one of my current collects, and I always look forward to the new volume when it comes out. Next, we have one that surprised me that I read this year, and that is Angelic Layer by Clamp. This is actually a shonen. This is completely a tournament arc. So for those of you who are familiar with shonen, typically in battle mangas, there's an arc of the story where they're doing some sort of tournament, and it's just a very common practice. And that's all this series is just a tournament arc. So there are 2 omnibuses, or there's 5 individual volumes, I believe, for this particular series. But I ended up loving and enjoying this. I ended up buddy reading this with Bazaar over at Bazaar Individual. He will be linked down below. If you have not checked him out, definitely do. And we had a great time with this, and this does tie in to Chobits and some things like that later down the road, and it's just really interesting. I really enjoyed it. It has like this virtual reality element to it, which makes it extra fun for me because me and my husband have a virtual reality setup here at home, and so I found it very interesting in this story to see how that kind of played out. And it's really underrated in my opinion. I don't hear a lot of people talking about this particular Clamp title, but it's definitely one of my favorites, so I highly recommend checking it out. Next, we have the one that I talk about pretty frequently. It's probably the most popular on this list, and that is going to be Full Metal Alchemist. I love Full Metal Alchemist. It doesn't really need much of an introduction, other than it's about the 2 Elric brothers trying to essentially get their souls back after they made a bad deal with alchemy to try to get their mother back, and it failed miserably. So the whole journey that these Elric brothers go on is amazing and gut-wrenching and full of fun all along the way, and it definitely has a political feel to it. It almost has like a religious feel to it as well. Like, it's really interesting. I end up really enjoying it every time I pick up a volume. My younger brother's collecting the really pretty hardback editions. I already had my complete collection before that happened. So yeah, I just have the floppy 3-in-1s, which is fine. They hold up really well as I read them. And I'm looking forward to rereading this one soon. I've got the first omnibus out on loan, so as soon as I get that back, I do plan on doing a reread of this entire series. So I am genuinely excited to tell you guys that I love Full Metal Alchemist. And last but not least, probably won't surprise people who have been around my channel a long time, and that is The Ancient Magus Bride. This is actually a shonen series, and it really surprised me. This is a series about Chise, who she has an affinity for magic. We'll just put it that way. And she ends up at this auction because of her particular affinity for magic, and she ends up getting bought by this being with a skull head back here. His name is Elias, and he is a mage. And so what he wants to do is help her channel her magic her magical affinity into something productive for her, because a lot of people with her power end up dying really young because they just don't know how to channel what's going on with them. And so it's really interesting. He does buy her with the intention of making her his bride, but it's definitely more they just feel like family at this point. It's not overly romantic yet. I do expect it to get that way later. He's learning about the human condition from her. She's learning about magic from him. So it's kind of an even exchange kind of situation where they're learning from each other. And I know a lot of people don't like that dynamic between Chisei and Elias, but I absolutely love it. I think it's handled very tastefully. I don't think anything is overdone or icky. Like, it doesn't feel that way to me at all. So I genuinely am looking forward to more in this series. I only get a volume every 6 months because we're current with Japan, and I'm sad about it, but I love this series enough that I will wait. And yeah. So friends, these are currently my 5 favorite shonen series. Let me know in the comments down below some of your favorite shonen series, because I am trying to, as I mentioned in the previous video, diversify what I'm reading. I would like to pick up some more shonen next year. So if you can let me know in the comments down below anything that kind of has this feel, not things like Fairy Tail and Naruto, because I already know those stories pretty well from watching the animes and things like that. So if you have something a little quieter, I mean, this one's wildly popular, so, but I'm talking about the other 4. If you know of some more shonen series like these, please let me know in the comments down below, because again, I would like to try to branch out a little bit and read a little bit more in those genres, so in those demographics. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will see you guys in the next one.